LovePod English.
Hello, everyone. Have you ever tried learning English but felt confused or stuck? Maybe you know some words and grammar, yet speaking still feels difficult. I've been there too, and I'm here to help you through it today. In this lesson on LovePod English, I'll share simple, practical tips that helped me go from feeling nervous to speaking with confidence. Whether you're just starting or want to get better, these ideas will help. This channel is all about easy English you can use every single day. Stay with me, and by the end of this video, you'll see that learning English can actually be simple and fun. I'm Rose, and today I want to begin our story. I want to share my personal journey with learning English. I wasn't always good at it. In fact, I struggled a lot when I started. But with time, I discovered some useful methods that really worked for me. I believe those same methods can help you too, no matter what level you're at right now. So, let's go back to the very beginning of my journey, to when I first decided to learn English seriously. Back then, I had no idea where to start. There were so many things: words, grammar, pronunciation. It all felt like too much at once. I remember feeling overwhelmed, wondering how I could possibly remember everything. But one day, I realized something important. You don't need to learn everything at once. Learning English or any language is like building a house. You start with the foundation and build up from there. So, I began with the basic simple words and phrases I could use every day. Greetings, introductions, and common questions were my starting point. Hello, thank you, how are you, and goodbye. I even carried a small notebook everywhere to write down new words and review them whenever I had free time. That small habit made a big difference in helping me remember vocabulary naturally. At first, speaking English in front of people made me nervous. I was so scared of making mistakes. But here's the truth. Mistakes are part of learning. I made many, but instead of quitting, I learned from each one. Every time I said something wrong, I tried again until it sounded right. So here's a big tip. Don't be afraid of mistakes. The more you practice, the faster you improve, and the more confident you become. One thing that helped me a lot was listening to English as much as possible. I used to think I had to understand every single word, but that's not true. Just listening daily helps your brain adjust to the rhythm. Whether it's English music, podcasts, or shows, constant listening builds your ear for the language. I used to listen to a radio program from London on my way to work in Edinburgh. It became my daily routine. At first, I didn't understand much, but slowly my listening improved without me even noticing. Here's a fun trick. Find something you enjoy in English. It makes learning feel effortless and natural. For me, that was TV shows. I started watching with subtitles in my native language, then switched to English ones, and later turned them off completely. It was hard, but also incredibly effective. Because I loved what I was watching, it didn't feel like studying, it felt like fun. Another challenge I faced was pronunciation. Sometimes I knew the words, but people couldn't understand me clearly. It was frustrating, but I found a solution. I started practicing out loud, even when I was alone. I repeated new words again and again until they sounded natural and confident. I also used online dictionaries with audio to hear how words should sound. That helped a lot, especially with words that looked different from how they were pronounced. And now, let's talk about grammar. Oh, grammar was really tough for me at first. It felt like a giant mountain to climb. I couldn't remember all the rules, and I kept mixing them up all the time. But then, I realized something very important. You don't need perfect grammar to communicate. Grammar is helpful, yes, but it shouldn't stop you from speaking and expressing your ideas. It's okay to make small mistakes, as long as people understand you. I focused on expressing my ideas clearly, and as I got more comfortable, my grammar naturally improved with time and practice. I also started reading in English. At first, I chose children's books because they were simple and had pictures that helped me understand. Later, I moved to short stories and online articles. I didn't always understand every single word, but I could grasp the main idea, and that's what truly mattered. Reading helped me learn new words in context and remember them more easily later. One of the most important lessons I learned was consistency. If you really want to improve your English, you must practice regularly, even if it's just a few minutes each day. I set a small goal: practice at least 15 minutes daily. Some days I did more, some less, but I always did something, whether it was speaking, listening, reading, or writing. It wasn't always easy, but over time I noticed real progress. Speaking of writing, here's another great tip. Try writing in English. It helps organize your thoughts and strengthen grammar skills. I began by writing short messages to friends, then moved on to journaling. Writing gave me space to practice grammar and vocabulary without the pressure of speaking in front of others. One day, I met a language exchange partner online. It completely changed my learning journey. We talked in English for a while, then switched to my native language to help each other. Having someone to practice with is one of the best ways to learn. It's not just about language, it's about building confidence. The more you speak with others, the easier it becomes in real life. Another fun tip is labeling things around your house. I used sticky notes with English words for objects like table, door, or fridge, and I said them aloud whenever I saw them. It might seem small, but those daily reminders helped me remember new vocabulary naturally. One more thing that really helped was training myself to think directly in English. At first, I always thought in my native language, and then translated in my head, but it took too long and made me freeze. So I started thinking simple English thoughts, like, I'm hungry. The more I practiced thinking in English, the easier it became. Soon, I didn't need to translate anymore. My brain started processing English automatically and naturally. Another key to improvement was asking questions. In the beginning, I was shy and afraid people would judge me, but I learned that asking questions is the fastest way to understand. Whenever I didn't understand a word or phrase, I asked teachers, friends, or even people online. Each time I asked, I grew more confident and comfortable using English in real life. Let me share a funny story from my early days. Once, after eating a big meal, I meant to say, I'm full, but I accidentally said, I'm fool. My friend burst out laughing. At first, I was embarrassed, but then I laughed too. And that's an important tip: learn to laugh at your mistakes. It keeps you relaxed, motivated, and confident while you improve. Finally, be patient with yourself. Learning a language takes time, and there will be moments when you feel stuck or frustrated. That's completely normal. Don't give up. I reminded myself that learning English isn't a race. Everyone learns at their own pace, and that's okay. Progress is progress, no matter how slow it feels. To sum up, my English journey has been challenging but rewarding. I listened, spoke, read, wrote, and practiced consistently, and I never gave up. You shouldn't either. Enjoy the process. With time and effort, you'll get better just like I did. When I first started learning English, I had to remind myself that progress takes time and patience. There were moments when I felt stuck, like I wasn't improving. I studied hard, but still felt lost. Then I realized that even small steps, like learning one new word, were still progress. Sometimes, progress was so tiny I didn't even notice it, but it was there. I learned that patience is the key. You can't expect fluency overnight, and that's completely okay. When I lived in Chicago, I struggled to use English in daily life. I still remember the first time I ordered coffee, my hands were shaking, and the words came out awkwardly. I felt embarrassed, but the barista was patient. After a few tries, I finally got it right. That small win showed me I was improving, even if it didn't feel like it at first. So my advice: be patient with yourself. It's normal to have good and bad days. The most important thing is to keep going and never give up, no matter how slow it feels. One thing that helped me stay motivated was setting specific goals. Saying, "I want to learn English" is great, but it's too broad. You need smaller, clearer goals. For example, one week I focused on learning 10 new words. I used them in sentences until they felt natural. The next week, I aimed to have a 5-minute English conversation. Each time I reached a goal, no matter how small, I celebrated. Those moments of progress gave me pride and energy to keep moving forward with my learning. Speaking of goals, I once set a big one: giving a presentation in English. It was for work, and I was terrified. I practiced for weeks, repeating my speech again and again. When the big day came, I was so nervous that my hands shook. I stumbled over some sentences and even forgot a few words, but I still finished my entire presentation. That moment taught me something powerful. Stepping outside your comfort zone is scary, but it's the only way to grow. Without that challenge, I wouldn't know my limits. Another way I made learning fun was by connecting it to things I love. I've always been a football fan, so I started watching matches with English commentary. At first, it was hard to understand the fast-paced talk, but with time, my listening improved. The more I watched, the easier it became, and soon I didn't need subtitles. The secret is simple: find something you enjoy and use it for learning. It could be movies, books, music, or sports. When you have fun, studying doesn't feel like work. One of the best parts of my journey was meeting friends from different countries who were also learning English. We helped each other with vocabulary and grammar. Since we were all at different levels, we shared what we knew and learned together. Having a community made everything easier and a lot more enjoyable. We laughed at our mistakes, shared learning tips, and encouraged one another. I still remember when a friend said, "I have hungry," instead of "I am hungry." We all laughed. Mistakes are a normal part of learning, and having supportive people around makes the journey less lonely and far more fun. Looking back, I'm amazed at how far I've come. I can't believe how far I've come. There were so many moments when I thought I'd never speak English fluently. Yet here I am, sharing my story with you in English, and if I can do it, so can you. Remember the tips I shared. Be patient, don't fear mistakes, set clear goals, and enjoy the journey. It's not always easy, but each step brings you closer to true fluency. One day, you'll look back and see how much you've grown. You might even laugh at your old mistakes, but trust me, every effort will be worth it in the end. Once I became more confident, I challenged myself further. I didn't just want to know the basics. I wanted real conversations, to understand jokes, and watch movies with no subtitles. The idea was exciting, but scary too. I reminded myself that every new step was part of the journey. Slowly, things that once felt impossible started to feel within reach. I noticed something important: The more I practiced, the more my confidence grew. Confidence doesn't come all at once. It builds slowly, like placing one brick at a time. I used to feel nervous even ordering food. I'd rehearse sentences in my head before speaking. If someone asked a question I didn't understand, I froze completely. But after a few tries, I realized people don't care about small mistakes. They appreciate your effort and often want to help. That made me relax and enjoy speaking more. Once in New York, I accidentally asked for a spin instead of a spoon. The waiter looked puzzled, and we both laughed when I corrected myself. It wasn't the end of the world. That moment taught me something. If you stay calm, communication gets easier. Stress blocks progress, but a relaxed mind helps conversations flow naturally. Another great tip: practice with native speakers if possible. I was lucky to have a fluent friend who always corrected me kindly, never making me feel embarrassed. If you don't have native friends, that's okay. There are apps and websites where you can find language partners to chat with. It's a great way to learn naturally. Talking to real speakers helped me understand slang, expressions, and idioms that you rarely find in textbooks. It made my English sound more authentic and alive. Speaking of idioms, I'll never forget when I first heard "It's raining cats and dogs." I was shocked. I thought animals were literally falling from the sky. Later I learned it just means raining heavily. Idioms can be tricky because translations don't always make sense, but once you know them, they make English more colorful. One big change in my mindset was seeing English not as a subject, but as a tool, a way to communicate, connect, and explore new cultures. That realization changed everything. When I stopped studying English just to pass tests and started using it in real life, learning became fun. It turned into something I wanted to do, not something I had to. So, if you ever feel stuck or tired, remember English is a journey, not a race. Take your time, make mistakes, set small goals, and keep going with joy and curiosity. One day, you'll tell your own story in English, just like I am now. Once I began using English as a tool for learning, everything about my experience completely changed. I used to struggle with English because I saw it as something I had to learn out of necessity, not interest. It felt like a duty rather than a skill I could truly enjoy. But once I began reading articles, watching tutorials on topics I loved, and speaking with people from other countries, everything changed. It stopped feeling like work. English became something I wanted to learn, not something I was forced to. It wasn't just a school subject anymore. It turned into a key that opened doors to new ideas and friendships.